Great. So, welcome to the tea party, everybody. So far, our initial guests are Jamie and Michelle. So, anybody want to talk about their tea or their teacup that they have today?
Oh, Jamie, I'll defer to you.
Well, today I'm using my Alice in Wonderland teacup and teapot that friends Calibre and Vivian got me in Disney World several years ago. And then I chose a nice white and peach tea mix for today's brew because I'm surprisingly low on my tea stash right now. I used to have an entire cabinet dedicated to tea, but I need to restock it. It's just been, unfortunately, low on the priority list with the budget lately.
We'll have to send some tea care packages at some point.
Oh, that'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, I've got an order coming in, but it hasn't arrived yet. So I feel you. Yeah.
I did just get 3 small bags of 2 ounces from the tea. I don't remember the name of the tea store, but it's on Fabric Row in Philadelphia, because unfortunately they're closing as soon as the stock runs out. Which at this point might be longer since they are probably closed at this point. But I went Friday of a week ago when I should have been staying home already, but I needed to purchase some fabric from up there. And so I was like, well, I'll be bad and venture out so I could get fabric.
Oh, is that your angry kitty I hear?
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he just doesn't understand why he's not allowed to roam the campground anymore.
Oh, poor babies. Poor babies.
Yeah.
Like
and he might make an appearance in the video.
Would you like to go next, Michelle?
Sure, of course. If I can get the cat. There you go. Go, Whiskey, go. This is my teapot. I just got it for Yule, and it's very pretty, and it has a little top. And I've got a Earl Grey in here because I love Earl Grey. And it's loose leaf, so it comes with a little strainer. Look, it has a little strainer. It's a little strainer. And it's not my usual style of accoutrement. I'm not a big fan of flowers, but it's cute. It's super cute, and I love it. So I'm drinking out of that today, and then of course my creamer and sugar are brought to you by the doctor. Yay!
That's so cute.
I love these. I never get to use them, so I'm gonna make a concerted effort to start using all of my good stuff from now on. All of my good crystal, I use it to actually drink my juice out of and stuff. So I'm trying to use what you have, you know.
Exactly.
As for me, I figured this is an appropriate teapot for what's going on right now. And I have just a very simple Assam tea, and drinking it out of my thrift store special teacup. So,
oh, that's a beautiful teacup.
Yeah, if anybody, yeah, I famous for my thrift store finds. By the way, one of these days we all gotta do thrifting together.
I love thrifting. Thrifting is the best.
Yeah, I still need to figure out a way to fit in my small home a display for the teacups and teapots I've been collecting, including the ones that you bought me last summer, Zach. I'm putting together a large collection because originally I was supposed to be, well, I hadn't decided if it was going to be an official wedding or with the paperwork and all, or the ceremony without, because unfortunately of my health and needing the health insurance I have. But I was originally going to have it this August with a tea party theme of Alice in Wonderland, Mad Tea Party theme, but I'm like, I decided that with everything going on, I'm not going to have it this year. And I'm going to have it on the same calendar date next year, just on a Sunday. So, and this gives me more time to collect mismatched teacups and teapots.
Yeah, yeah, good to know. I'll keep looking then. So I'm usually
Thank
pretty
you.
good at finding tea sets and stuff like that, as you can.
We don't have a lot of good thrifting up here, but every now and again we get something really good, so I can keep an eye out for you too if you like.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You have a couple good thrift stores nearby, but they tend to mostly have good selection of clothing and less of a selection of teacups and teapots.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I miss moving back up here to Scranton. Our thrift stores are not particularly great, so I miss living in other areas that had really good ones. It's sad, but it's okay. There are other
And
benefits to living here.
one of the one of the piles of fabric you could see in the background is a red dress that um, we found at a store down in Fells Point in Baltimore called Kill or Trash.
Mm-hmm.
And originally I was saying I'd been planning on doing some mending to it and replacing the zipper with lacing and everything. But my niece is hoping that she still has a prom this year. And I told her that if she does, I could quickly do the mending I need to it so she could use it as a prom dress, and she loves that idea.
That is a really nice idea.
We may
Yeah.
get an invader soon.
I'm hoping that once that.
Anybody?
Oh, I don't even know what's your cat's name again.
This one is Nacho. Sun's still sleeping in the back.
Nacho, okay.
Nacho's the one who's more of the yeah, come on up. Come on. Ready? Come on. Come up. Go ahead and say hi. Give him a sec. He smells the butter.
Oh, cat anticipation is the worst anticipation. Come on, cat. Come on.
Come on, don't turn around.
Nacho.
Okay. He all right. He's like sitting there holding my leg. He's like getting ready to jump but doesn't want to jump. But here we go. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello to my
Oh,
little friend.
there's the beautiful baby. Hello.
This is Nacho. He's one of the two. So
He has such a beautiful mask on pattern on him.
well, his original owners thought that the pattern looked like a luchador mask, which is how he got his name Nacho Libre.
Oh,
So
now I'm tempted to pull one of my masks down and put one on, or maybe I'll put on the crown I have that's sitting sideways, even if it doesn't quite go with my wall silk top I'm wearing.
go ahead. We're all dressing up here. Fancy dress. This is why I'm wearing my performance garb. By the way, this vest that I've been wearing for almost, it must be about 10, actually 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Also a thrift store find.
Yeah, both of the pieces I'm wearing are actually festival pieces. One for the Rayon Designs top, and then the crown is from Shane and Leah Odom. Oh, and here's my niece, Erin.
Hi.
Would you like a cup of tea?
So we are being recorded. Just want to put that out there so everyone knows coming in. So yes, it's, by the way, feel free to shamelessly plug yourself or your friends. So if you want to if you want to plug Shane and Leah Odom of Mythical Masks, go ahead. I think Michelle may be able to shamelessly plug herself as well.
Oh, Michelle is not going to shamelessly plug anything because Michelle has crops that she has to plant this spring, and a lot of homesteading to do. So Michelle is actually very grateful for this little break. We're going to call it a break. We'll call it a break.
Okay.
And we're not going to do that. But I am an artist. Yay. And that's as much as I'll do.
She burns things and makes them pretty.
I set things on fire. Yes, it's a good life.
Ooh. Yeah, it's so difficult for me not to shamelessly plug artists when I'm wearing the look.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're
'Cause
going to
it's
be doing a
I'm just
Munchausen
like,
tonight, and I'll be shamelessly plugging people as much as I can during the Munchausen as well.
Who all is doing
nice.
the Munchausen with you?
So we've got Attica, we've got Nigel,
Mm-hmm.
we've got Halo, we've got Dean possibly, my old friend Jack, and possibly Carnival.
Well, the gang's all here.
Katie Laurie.
Oh, very nice. That's pretty exciting. What time's that going to be?
So we're going to be recording it and then probably putting it online tomorrow.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I don't know quite yet how to do a live show of it right now without causing mass chaos. So
That's fair. That's all kind of hard stuff to figure out when it's not your normal gig, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
last night I almost watched the SJ Tucker concert, but I figured that I'd let James watch what he wanted on TV because I've been listening to her so much that I know he sometimes gets a little tired of just listening to her most of the time.
You look familiar.
Who?
No, I know who you are, but
Zach,
yes, Zach.
I know you've met him at least Maryland Fairy Festival, if not also Spoutwood. But oftentimes you also see him running around as a dinosaur.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
And my ears are normally pointed. So hold on.
Yeah, quite a few of the people normally have pointed ears. I need to replace my prosthetic ears.
Oh, I just did that last year. I'm so happy I did. It's not comfortable walking around with normal shaped ears at a convention. That probably sounds weird, but you
Now,
know,
do you remember me?
that looks
Yep.
more typical. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. All I had to do was play with my balls, and suddenly
Yeah. And it's amusing how the contents of that can change so easily. Of
it's my
the
favorite.
contents of that comment.
It's my favorite not dirty joke.
It's an all ages comment. It really is. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Back.
Yeah, unfortunately, my my teenage niece already has quite a sense of humor that fits within more adult sense of humor than I'm used to with most teenagers.
But how old are you again?
14.
14. Yeah, that's about when it starts to happen. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
It started years ago.
Yeah, one year at Free Spirit Gathering when she was still a preteen, she was like, "Hey, can I go to the sex ed talk with the teenagers?" And she had to get guardian permission, and I was like, "Sure," because I knew her parents wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the people wanting the sex ed talk were just like, I just want to make sure they would be appropriate for it. I'm like, yeah, go right ahead. I figured that most of what they were going to go was probably had figured out by searching online anyway.
Mm-hmm. And we start that education way too late. Way too late. So
Exactly.
most of that information is perfectly appropriate for younger children. It's silly.
Yeah.
And the vacuum that gets created by not starting, by not teaching them, gets filled with a lot of wrong
nonsense. dangerous nonsense.
Oh.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, and I know that she started to get the talks from at least her mom and my side of the family quite young. But I also know that she gets quite of a lot of she talks a lot with her friends as well, and probably has relayed some of the information to her friends, which is probably a good idea simply because they might not already know the information.
Oh yeah,
I've
definitely.
talked about terms.
That's good. That's necessary, though. We need people like you disseminating that information. So that's fantastic.
Well, it's looking at some of the media that's coming up. There's a lot of shows that are really doing a good job now. There's on Netflix. There's actually the show Sex Education.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It's at first I kind of clicked past it because I'm like, oh, it's kind of I didn't know what it was. Then one of my clients in session brought it up and suggested I watch it, so I did. And it's like, oh wow, this is really good. Because they approach it from a very mature standpoint. They're able to add some humor at times, but they work very hard to be very technically correct with the information, while exploring a lot of the struggles that happen, as teenagers are exploring. So.
Huh. Yeah, I've been thinking about checking it out at some point, but I haven't yet. And you said you've watched it. And her Netflix profiles on mine, on my account. So I try to not intrude on what she's watching by checking out what she has saved and everything.
Same. I try to give my kiddo privacy too. At this point, he's still coming to me when he has questions and concerns and stuff. So. I remember what it felt like when my mom violated my privacy, so I'm not about to do that to my kid, If there's a question, he'll come. He'll come to me. It's fine.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good that you've been able to
Exactly.
foster the kind of comfort and openness.
Mm-hmm. There's no bad question.
And exactly. I think I'm of her family members. I think I'm the one that Erin feels most comfortable coming to with questions. So I try to live up to answering those questions well.
And it says a lot for both of you, because part of it is being open to them coming in, but part of it is being able to handle the material in a way that still projects that comfort in the conversation. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out there who respond with their own anxieties, who can overdo things, who can react in ways that reduce the comfort. So it's not just that you're inviting them, you're responding properly while talking to them.
I hope so. I hope so. Hi, kitty.
Yeah, I definitely try to.
But it's challenging,
right now.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, she was just looking to see if my cat was in here. I'm like, nope, not yet. This is one of his favorite rooms, especially when I have the electric fireplace going.
So you can walk in front of me. There we go. Now you have space to explore. Don't drink the milk. Don't drink the milk. He's gonna fight me over that little corner.
It's the milk or the butter. He's getting one of them, and you need to accept that.
He's gonna attack both. You should see it when I have barbecue. Nacho loves barbecue.
Oh.
And he will fight me for it. I've had wrestling matches over the spare ribs.
His name is Nacho?
There's a place up in North Jersey who does this amazing barbecue, Mighty Quinn's. And they do and baked beans, where when they're chopping up the brisket, whatever scraps left, they just toss into the baked beans to add flavor. It's amazing. And when I would sit there, Nacho will just sit there waiting patiently. And as soon as I get distracted, he'll reach over, put his paw into the baked beans and start licking it.
Almost need to put some of the juices from the baked beans in a small bowl for him.
I'll have to look up to see if it's actually safe. That's always the issue. Certain ingredients, human ingredients, are not cat friendly. So I spend a lot of time researching what is.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm really lucky in that my cat's not too worried about people food, although he's upset that I won't let him have the milk after my cereal because of how often I'm worried about this ingredients in the cereal being safe, and I know too much milk's probably not good for him.
Yeah, I'll do that, but I'll love like a thin layer of the milk on the thing, and I also make sure the actual ingredients are safe for Kitty. There's also a reason why I don't have raisins at home. This is a scone full of dried blueberries, because raisins are not good for kitties.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, my cats don't try to eat raisins, but still good to know.
Yeah. My cats love oatmeal, though.
Oh.
And that's safe. Cat grass is actually oat grass.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
So I'll sit there and I'll be eating my morning oatmeal, and Sun will jump on the table and just look at me and patiently wait. And if I'm taking too slow, he'll try to reach out. But when I'm done, I place it on the floor and he immediately jumps down and he gets his breakfast.
That's a well-behaved cat. My cats are all just like right in my face trying to get the food. Yeah. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, my cat loves to drink water out of my glasses, and he rather drinks out of my glass than out of his own, and
oh yeah.
And he's very demanding whenever it's dinner time that he gets his half a can of canned food. That goes with your outfit. Are you gonna try collect that now?
Maybe.
She's slowly been taking fun pieces from my collection. I might let you have that one because I don't wear that one as much as I wear some of the other stuff.
Okay.
That's fun that you
Especially
have
because that one's a little bit more fragile.
It's fun that you have a closet that you can like borrow from. That's very cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love that hat.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
I'm trying to remember. Can't remember the name of the store. It's like something oddities or whatever. They're at the Fairy Festival and they're at the steampunk. They've been at the steampunk festivals like Cogs. The Gadgeteers.
Yeah.
Was it the Gadgeteers? But they have this thing where if you're looking for it, you tell them what you're looking for, and they will find it for you.
Oh.
So I gave them this very specific description. I want a green derby, but I've got a huge head. So I gave them the I gave them the quest at Baltimore at the Maryland Fairy Festival. No, I gave them the request at Spoutwood, and they were able to get it to me by Maryland Fairy Festival.
Wow.
That is quite impressive, especially since that's such a it was such a short turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that the Maryland Fairy Festival comes back to life in the next few years, but I have no idea where it's going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of I miss those. I missed my fairy festivals. It was especially the ones that have the after hours like Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to kind of run around and be the patron, and then it's nice to just chill out with everybody and listen to music and bring out
I was so looking forward to usually I had done inside shows, steampunk festivals and whatnot, and I was really looking forward to branching out into the fairy festivals and the Renaissance fairs. I was supposed to do 2 Renaissance fairs this year, and I just don't know if they're going to happen now. But man, just to close up the booth and come back to the campsite and chill.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to that. Yeah. I mean, I can still camp in my backyard. I got a big backyard, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's when you can. Go ahead.
Well, outside of camp season, I am allowed to have guests. So if you like cold weather camping, Um, I'm more than happy to have you as a guest during outside of when camp season's not in session.
Thank you very much. I might take you up on that. It might be fun.
Yeah, I just have to be careful about having guests during camp season because I'll have to ask the camp owner for the privilege of depending on which event it is having guests then.
Sure.
Because it means less people paying for the event.
Mhm.
But during the off season, it's nice and relaxed and get to enjoy what's available without the pressure of making sure that I'm in the correct mindset for whatever events in camp at the time.
Understandable. And honestly, I like the cooler weather camping better anyways. Better camp, it feels better to hang around the campfire. You can do the better campfire cooking because I know when it's during the summer days, I don't want anything big and heavy. It's I want something light. I want something quick. Usually it's a lot of the stuff I'll just pre-make and eat cold.
Mm-hmm.
But during the cool areas, that's when I break out my cast iron.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big eater, but I'm not a big cooker. So Hey,
we make great camping buddies.
I'm really good with other things, like putting up the tent and whatnot. Sorry, go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah. I'm definitely missing having the Green Man moot this in person this year because I was always the token dryad, and I get to hang out with all the Green Men that were here after towards the end of the day when the bonfire is set up and everything.
Yeah, and get my campfire donuts.
But hopefully, oh yes, and hopefully next year there will be a nice large turnout since it couldn't happen in person this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed things start to blossom again when all of this is over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And hoping that it doesn't last as long as some predictions are saying this might last.
Yeah.
Hoping it's shorter than longer. Because even though I love being able to see people digitally, it's nice to see people in person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Being an introvert, I kind of like being able to stay in my house, but I also miss all my festival friends and family. So.
Yeah, even being introverted, you still need to you need that in-person interaction every now and again. Like I'm perfectly happy not being around anybody most of the time, and then just going to festivals and having that companionship for the weekend. That's fine for me. But now with no companionship coming on the weekend, every human needs that.
Yeah. I mean, there's you've seen
I think
festival behave. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think I'm like a combination introvert extrovert, especially because like when I'm in my festival garb and at festivals, I that's when my extroverted energy really comes out. Mm-hmm. But during a lot of the year, especially like while I was still working on my bachelor's degree, I get very introverted, except with even though I wear a lot of my festival clothing to school.
I wish I could get away with that.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
Well, I could imagine you being able to get away with some of your festival clothing done in subtle ways.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that vest would work.
Yeah, actually, probably.
Yeah.
Don't want to take this off because I keep losing these. I've had like 4 of them so far. They keep disappearing. So I'm afraid to take it off for work. But I could probably pull this one off. Honestly,
yeah,
I have shown up to work as a T-Rex a few times. It was Halloween. For 2 Halloweens, I would smuggle in the T-Rex. And just between sessions, I would throw it on and walk around the office. And then at lunch, I would put it on and go across the street to the pizzeria and order and get my pizza in the T-Rex costume. One of my clients, I deal with a lot of hard cases, and this was probably the first time she had laughed that hard in years. So.
Oh, yeah, I
Good.
could imagine if you have younger clients, they probably would have loved it as well.
Yeah. So, but,
Yeah,
That's nice.
doing all of this. Well, before this started to get bad, I remember messaging my therapist, being like, "Hey, are we going to work something out so I can still have my therapy appointments? If this gets really bad." And she was like, "Well, I don't know if, what will happen." And then they figured out how to make it work, so I don't have to miss out,
good.
which is something I greatly appreciate.
I've been trying to spread the word as much as I can about teletherapy. There's a lot of services out there. PSA for everybody. There's Zoom has a HIPAA version, paid version. Microsoft Teams has a paid version. But there's also a free site called Doxy.me, DOXY.me, which is free for a therapist to use if they can't, if they're too small and can't afford the paid services. So I've been trying to get that out to as many people because people are going to need their therapists.
Doxy.me is what my therapist uses. She's we did our first one Wednesday.
Good.
Yeah, works pretty well.
Yeah, so far, the mental health clinic I go to is just using telephone appointments instead of video appointments, which is a little inconvenient, but at least they still work something out. And during my appointment last week, they hadn't yet figured out how to still bill Medicaid, but they figured that out so that I know that my therapist will still be getting paid for the appointments, which is good.
Very important.
A lot of that was one of the big issues, getting it paid for, and they've changed a lot of the rules for Medicare and Medicaid just because of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, which is really good because, yeah, as you said, people are going to need to be able to see the therapist and take care of the mental health through all of this.
Yep. Very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me. It's usually about the time I have my morning first nap of the day. Although I've been really good about limiting my naps while my niece has been here.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, my brain's telling me it's nap time. But thankfully, I'm pretty. I've been able to ignore most of the nap times.
Yep.
Naps are important though. You gotta do what your body needs, So
Yep. And I have the fun dilemma that my brain always tells me I'm sleep deprived no matter how much sleep I get. It's called isopathic hyposomnia, and it's apparently a rare sleeping disorder that's a lot rarer than even narcolepsy.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it quite fun because basically, if without my medicine, I could easily sleep for all but like 4 hours a day, and that's mostly so that James, my partner, could make sure I actually wake up enough to eat.
Mm-hmm. And that's gotta be frustrating.
Well,
Yeah.
Just side note, this is recording. Do you guys want me to turn off the recording just as we talk about this stuff, or are you okay with kind of these things getting posted?
I'm okay with things like this getting posted because, for one, I'm very open about my physical health problems because I try to. I know a lot of people can't be open about their physical health, and I try. So I try to show that be somebody that can since I can. I try to not hide it to help with the stigma of invisible illnesses.
I actually agree with Jamie. I have multiple physical and mental health issues, and I try to be pretty open about them as well because people don't talk about it enough. And I think that normalizing these kinds of conversations is really critical to addressing the issues. So I have no problem if we keep recording through these talks.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that consent is maintained with this, especially if we're going into this. So,
Oh,
but
definitely. Very,
thank you
very
for having
appreciated.
me open.
Yeah, very appreciated.
Yeah, definitely appreciated. And I figure of
Yes,
anyone have, okay, good. You agree?
I do.
Okay, just double checking, especially since you're a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
I'm officially I've been your guardian through the quarantine.
Uh-huh.
She was bored silly at home, and since it's with the campground here, her dad and stepmom agreed to have her at my place
Mm-hmm.
for at least most of the duration of the quarantine.
That's a
That
really good idea.
that is
Yeah.
a great place to be quarantined.
Yep.
So you get to run around, play with the baby deer.
Yeah, it's really fun during the winter when the baby deer hang out in the closer section of the yard around my trailer.
And we have a bear around here. I keep seeing little, like not little.
Oh.
I mean, they're massive footprints. So there's a bear somewhere around here.
Mhm.
I love wildlife.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
He's well
well,
behaved with the garbage cans. It's
oh, yeah.
fine. He's allowed.
And PA black bears are great. They're little pussycats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not really something you should be aware of as long as you're taking reasonable precaution. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
the only problem he's caused
Yeah,
is he gets into the garbage every now and again. He's fine.
yeah, I have to be careful with the garbage here, but because of the raccoons and the possums. But at the same time, every once in a while during winter, when it like in years past when we had a good snowstorm, I would feed the possums because I definitely want to encourage the possums to stay around.
Oh, for those tick, they eat the ticks, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And here at the campground, we definitely have a bad tick problem.
Yeah, is there any way to attract possums to your yard? Can you like do that? Like I know you can attract
Don't
butterflies and
know.
your pollinators and whatnot, but can you do that for marsupials?
you would have to look up what they eat and maybe,
Plant it?
yeah, and then look at maybe, you'd also have to look up how they build their homes and see if there's any way you could facilitate that.
Because we have a groundhog.
Yeah.
You know, but I'd like a possum, a pet possum. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I
That
always
is
look,
definitely an interesting question.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fun watching the foxes run around camp too.
Oh.
Thankfully, the foxes and while my cat was allowed outside, the foxes and my cat stayed a safe distance away from each other. So as far as I know, so that they didn't get into much fights. I think my cat would just only get into fights with the cats that would get abandoned here until they could be transplanted, will be taken to a shelter to be cleaned up and rehomed.
That's good that they do that. That's excellent. I'd
Yeah.
like to start doing that in my neighborhood. But I don't have the resources to. But it's on the list. It's on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, way too many cats do get abandoned here. So the owner and the camp employees try diligently to catch them, so that they could be get spayed and neutered and get their shots. And if they are cats that can be homed with people, then they are. And otherwise, they at least if they get released back into the wild, they're not going to add to the kitten population.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
yeah, I remember in the little area where the green room was, that there was a little hole in the deck, and just all these little kitten heads started popping out.
Yeah,
We
that
have
was definitely
kittens.
one that did not get. I think that one was abandoned with the cat pregnant.
Yeah.
And it makes me so incredibly sad whenever the cats do get abandoned here.
Yeah, does that. That's awful.
Mhm.
That's so sad. You know,
Yeah.
I feel bad. Like how bad must your situation be where you take your pet? I like to think that they're not abandoned because they're not loved. I like to think, oh, the family came on hard times and can no longer take care of that. So here, I'll release you into the wild where you will have a chance to forage for yourself, my creature. I know that's not the case, but that's the story I tell myself. How sad is it? It's sad.
Yeah, both
Mhm.
my kittens, they actually struggle a lot with abandonment issues. Sun, I found him. He was just wandering around, living on his own as a kitten at my old apartment complex. The reason I got him is right before the first cold snap, and he walks onto my porch as I'm making tacos and starts meowing.
Mm.
And I let him in and got him some cat litter and some food, and he's been with me for about 9 years now. And then Nacho, and Sunshine was a pure abandonment. We think what happened was somebody had a cat who got pregnant, and so they just kind of let them run around, or maybe left the cat behind. Nacho, unfortunately, his first owner started dating somebody who was allergic to cats, so she had to give him up. And then second owner had a friend couch surfing, and Nacho really bonded with a lady who was couch surfing. But then she ended up meeting her, who is now the man who became her husband, and moved out. And then Sun took that hard, and so Nacho took that hard. So now, and then he wasn't playing well with the other cats at his other house. So that's when they thought he would do well here, and that's how he ended up here. So one of the reasons why he is kind of clingy to me right now is because he's been passed around so much. So Sun's cool. Yeah, Sun's cool is just chilling out in the other bed, but Nacho, he's the one who keeps coming back and saying hi.
That's the deal with Whiskey.
Aw.
He was passed around through several owners as well. So now he's like, I love you. And
Unfortunately, sad side
Yeah, I
effect.
had a cat.
I was going to say sad side effect. Whenever I bring
I had a cat.
home, he starts getting all jealous.
Mhm.
Sorry, Jamie. Go ahead.
No. Oh, it's okay. I have a cat that came with the trailer I live in at camp because the camp cook that used to live in it, he moved down to Florida and he abandoned the cat here. And she was such a sweetie. She was one of the abandoned cats that ended up getting torn up by a dog somewhere nearby, and he took the cat in and got taken her to the vet and everything. But then after all the work he put into taking care of her,
Dog?
the cat, but the dog of a dog attacked her and tore her up really bad.
Oh, I thought you said the dog took her to the vet.
No, the camp cook took her to the vet, but after the camp cook put so much energy into taking care of her, he then abandoned her here, and she was definitely very clingy until she passed away of old age. Oh, excuse me. I really should be sitting up straighter, but I'm really bad about slouching.
me too. I work on a desk all day, hunched over the desk. So sitting up is really kind of hard now. I understand that.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where oftentimes if I spend a lot of time at my sewing machine, I'll put on a corset just to make sure I'm not sitting incorrectly.
Yeah, but that core strength is really something I'm hoping the raising the crops and tending the crops will take care of.
I do have to say it's one of the best feelings in the world that when I have worked on the garden, just kind of burning your arms and burning your body, digging and shoveling and kind of leveling the land. I'll just take a minute and just feel the.
Yeah.
You get a
I
very
have some
similar
lilies
feeling.
I need to finish planting. Yeah, I have some lilies I need to finish planting. And, just putting the work in and knowing that come summer I'll see these gorgeous lilies in bloom. It's just that excitement of knowing that they will be there.
Mhm.
And I was hoping to get a some raised garden bed started this year. Though with how things are going, it's less likely I'll be able to do that unless if I put in some late crops.
Mhm.
But yeah, each year I plan to do it, and then this is the first year in many years that I'm not in school and actually have medicated enough that I'm actually have the energy to go ahead and tend a garden.
Mhm. Mhm. It's the same for me. It's my first year I'm able to really not just devote the time to it, but devote the spoons to it. I usually don't have that kind of
Yeah.
energy. And even now it's a daunting task, but I feel like now is the time. If you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? Right? So get it done.
Yeah.
Well, they have been talking about resurrecting the Victory Garden.
That's my grandfather had one of those. That's my info. He used to watch it what was it, on Sundays? Every Sunday is Victory Garden, and he was great with tomatoes. And it's just
Oh.
he was a fantastic gardener. So I'm taking my inspiration from that a little bit. Yeah. And a chickens.
Oh.
Every household should have what, 5 chickens? 4 or 5 chickens. So chickens maybe in the future too, if I can get a coop.
Yes. One of these years I should get chickens, but I know Shane telling me the process of the chicken coop I'm gonna need because of the wildlife here.
Yeah, that's why you
Because
need a chicken coop here. Yeah. And like some places, sure, you
yeah.
can have them roam in a yard that isn't protected or whatever, but there's a forest right there, right there. There's a forest. Something's gonna come out and
Yeah.
eat them. I have to have a coop.
Yeah, that nice little black bear of yours is gonna get some.
I know, it's chicken dinner time for the black bear.
Especially, I know.
Yeah, I could just imagine
The
yeah, I could
feathers
just
I would have to
imagine the
clean up.
foxes and
One of my favorite adventure stories,
yeah,
a camping trip up at a campground called Lakota Wolf Preserve. They have a little campground attached to it up in Sussex. And when camping up there with some of my friends, and we all set up camp, we all did our fun thing, we walked around the camp. Next morning, I'm in my tent, I hear this crunch, 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 crunch going on. I'm like, what's that? Opened up my tent, poke my head out. My friend had left the cooler out, and a black bear had found it and was eating the chicken wings. So I'm like, fine, this is okay. He's got what he wants. He's gonna leave us alone. So I zipper it up and I'm going back to bed. I then heard every other zipper in the camp coming up, and I just announced, "Stay in the tent." Which people didn't think it was a warning. They thought it was me trying to set up some sort of practical joke. For some reason, they think I'm this practical joker. I don't know why. Well, when they what was happening, they're like all freaking out. I'm like, guys, he's got exactly what he wants. We're good. We're safe. You can just be okay in the tent. Well, between the bear and the tent was my friend's RV. So they decide, oh, we're just going to go head for that. So one by one, they sprinted from the tent to the RV. The bear didn't care. He had he was still working on the chicken wings, and then after that, he discovered the French onion dip, which he really liked apparently. Or was it ranch? One of the two. Anyways, so they're all hiding in the car, and I'm just like, okay. I slowly get out of the tent, and I just mosey over to the car, and I just lean on the hood like this, and just talking to them. And it's like, guys, it's not a big deal. He's going to finish up and leave. You don't have to be that scared. And when my one friend who's a photographer saw that I was feeling calm, he decided, okay, grabs his camera out and starts taking pictures of the bear because he realized this is okay. And me being, you know, how geeks will sometimes socialize by just doing, you know, info dumping on something random that they know that's associated with the situation.
Mhm.
So I just started doing that kind of geek thing, telling them about the Apache tradition known as bear slapping. So in bear slapping, the Apache tradition, this is the ultimate test of an Apache scout's stealth, speed, and stealth, stalking, speed, and evasion. They have to find a bear, they have to sneak up on the bear, they have to slap the bear in the ass, and they have to get away. And if they survive, they pass. So immediately after telling the story, I'm looking at how calm the bear is, and I just decide, I wonder how close I can get to it before it reacts. So one, because I'm not bear slapping, I'm approaching it from the front. And as I'm doing this, my friends are like, Zach, we know you're good, but you're not that good. Please stop doing that. I probably got within about 4 feet of the bear. Well, actually more like 6 feet of the bear. Yeah, got within at least 6 feet of the bear when it stops, looks up, and just basically says to me, what are you doing? I'm a bear. Goes back to the French onion dip. And I'm like, message received, and I walk back to the car.
I hope your friend got some pictures of that as well.
I wonder if he did. I'll have to ask him at some point. Hey, buddy.
Poor bear. It's like it just wanted to eat its chicken and dip in peace.
Well,
and
you
then
wanted to eat our chicken and dip in peace.
It was his chicken at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his chicken.
Good point.
Got claimed.
Yeah, especially after your friend left it outside for the bear to find. It's like, once it's stuck outside like that, it belongs to the
No.
wildlife.
That's what we call an offering. All right. If you leave it out when you're
Yeah.
that's an offering at that point. You can't take it back.
Yeah.
You know, the bear will give you a look if you try to do that.
Yeah, I remember, well, I don't remember this, but I remember stories of one of my early camping trips because my parents, before they got divorced, would take us camping whenever possible. And one of my, they would take me and my sister's car camping when I was a toddler. And they'd feed me in my little car seat, and I would drop a lot of crumbs. So there were like chipmunks and chickadees and so forth, waiting for me to drop the crumbs. Unfortunately, if there's any pictures of that, the pictures have long been lost through many moves and everything.
But the memory remains. Sort of. I mean, as a story passed
Yes.
down. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
There are some cute photos of my first camping trip when I was 6 weeks old, which it's really cute seeing the pictures of me in my little snuggly outfit and my cap hanging out in the tent.
Cute. My
Because
folks,
it's
my
not
family
like I
was
could
never,
do much at that point.
we were never big campers. I'm the first generation of campers, really, in my family. So I have some pictures of kiddo going to events and camping, but it's not something that we used to do, which is a shame because it's fun.
Yeah.
Everyone should do that. Yeah.
I do miss backpacking. I've been going backpacking in a very long time, but because now everything I do is festival car camping. Or what I like to, or when there's events that I participate in here at camp, it's more like glorified car camping because I'm at home, but I get to just walk out the door to hang out with people at their tents and their encampments and everything.
That's really nice. That is.
Yeah.
I was talking to.
Especially great when I want to ask students. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was talking to Michelle before about, there's this nice piece of land I was looking at, which is basically a little farm cottage. And one of the things that does attract me to is the fact I'd basically be living that life too. I would just walk, it'd basically just be camping, but with my house right there. So there's like an old style outdoor kitchen, so I could just throw wood into that outdoor kitchen and cook up things. I could walk along the grounds. I'm probably going to plant a bunch of trees to make a forest.
It sounds so
nice. Yeah, that's the type of house that James and I are hoping to find. Because we want to find something like that so that when he's ready to retire from working at the campground, since he's in his mid 60s already, we want to find some place that is has that nice cabin feel, or at least the acreage, so that we could build the perfect house, even if it takes quite a while because of finances. But have that nice. It'd be kind of cabinish, but in a larger scale, because I'll need room for my studio, because right now my studio is way too small to get most stuff done in.
A
And
little cottage.
Huh?
A little cottage.
yeah, I can have a little cottage separate from the main cottage, just for my studio. But it'd be
I wasn't talking about your studio, but
okay. So a cottage for the house, and then a really big barn-like building for my studio.
Works.
Giant she shed, right?
There you go.
Uh,
Throw a
Yeah.
couple solar panels on the roof, and you can have electricity, self-sustaining electricity.
that's my plan.
Yep.
I'm hoping to do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll have the water lines from the well, so I could have the washer and dryer on the utility sink for when I'm dyeing fabric and everything.
Mm-hmm. So,
Because
speaking
it's
of
always
houses.
good. It's a dream to have. Huh?
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a dream to, like, when I have the proper studio, having a separate washer and dryer just for when I'm dyeing fabric, so I don't mess up the home washer and dryer.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not fun having to work really hard to make sure the home washer is perfectly spotless of any dye, and then I basically just have to wash James's work clothes for several loads to make sure that I don't mess up any of our good clothing.
So, speaking of houses and yards and whatnot, I have to finish cleaning my house and plan my garden because I start work on the garden this week. So, I am going to finish my last drag and then say goodbye and have a wonderful time, everybody.
I was gonna say only have about 10 minutes left in the schedule for the meeting anyway, so yeah, we'll have to finish up soon. Well, I'm thinking after I post this, I'm gonna cross-post it to some of the ferry festival sites, see if we could get a ferry tea party going.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Ooh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so I think
Actually put on one of my fancy rings.
Yeah.
Maybe when we do that, I'll make sure my laptop's fully charged so I could sit outside somewhere in the campground.
That sounds
Ooh,
nice.
yeah.
When this is all over, well, definitely have to plan a nice bonfire for next year, because by the time this is all over, I'm sure that there's going to be some events that want to try to continue to have happen if it's safe to do so.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, definitely have to make plans to get together with people during the off season more, because I haven't been really good about doing that in years past.
when you sent the email, the invite out for the camping the other week, I'm like, oh, maybe I do really want to do that. So I'd be perfectly happy to pop up there. Got my little tent going. We'll sit around the campfire. So just as soon as kind of things probably go on the other side, so that we don't have to worry about quarantines and borders getting shut down. But yeah, be perfectly happy to come up and visit you and camp out and feed you with my Dutch oven cookery. I made a really nice. Last year, Michelle and I were going to share a campsite for the New Freedom one.
Yeah, which is no longer, of course, so sad.
Yeah, but if you remember, I was sending you pictures. I made a really nice pizza just with my cast iron. So I can do.
That's fantastic.
I do have a nice amount of ground deer meat I could contribute to the cooking.
Ooh, venison stew. Because
the hunters this year, the hunters this year provided us with a good selection of deer meat, and it's mostly ground, but it's still so delicious. And I've gotten quite spoiled because we've actually been using it with just our basic spaghetti and on pasta nights, and I greatly think that deer meat with spaghetti is far superior than ground beef for quick and easy spaghetti.
I agree completely. It flavors it. It's got it's just wonderful. I love deer meat. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat it but I miss it. It's the only meat I miss. It's
I
deer meat.
I will have to remember that next time I swap and do my trades with my one friend. He's good at finding pretty much everything, and there used to be this at the farmers market. There used to be this one place who would do this really awesome. They called it chorizo verde, which was it was unsmoked, but was pork meat with all these spices inside that made the perfect tacos. So we traded. I grabbed like 5 pounds of that for my friend, and my friend gave me some, but a couple pounds of venison in return.
It's a good way to do things, that
Ooh.
trading culture. Yeah. Oh, I have my parents have bees and they have a lot of honey. So I'm putting that out there. If anyone needs honey, may be able to get you some honey.
Thank you.
I always love having more honey.
hmm
It's
I've
my
got so
preferred
much honey.
sweetener for my tea. One of these years, I'm hoping to have the spoons to have some beehives myself.
It's a lot of work to set it up, but yeah.
Yes. And I have had a chance to sit and outside of a beehive and just meditate, and it's so wonderful to do. It's one of my favorite places to meditate.
Mhm.
I learned to do beekeeping when I was in Peace Corps, so I got trained with African bees.
Fun.
And still was enough that everyone who did the training fell in love with it. So again, one of the goals when I finally settle down and get myself a piece of land, going to be the bees as well.
We have honeybees, at least one hive of honeybees somewhere near our property or on our property, because when the flowers start coming up, our yard is loaded with honeybees. But I don't know where they are, so I can't. I mean, they're great. They're great for the crops. They'll be great for the flowers and the crops, but
Yeah.
I can't get honey off of them yet.
Who knows, if they swarm and you get a second batch of bees from them, maybe you could set up encourage them into a beehive.
It's exactly what I'm going to try to do, but that's something that's a lot of knowledge that I have to gain, and
Yeah.
it's one set of knowledge at a time, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to close up. Thank you everyone for coming. It was great seeing you guys again. I do miss you guys.
I miss you too, Zach.
Miss you too.
Yeah.
And
Jamie,
it was wonderful meeting you, Michelle.
It was great meeting you too, Jamie. It really was. And it was so nice meeting you too. It was a pleasure. You look wonderful in that headdress. The purple suits you. It does.
Oh, and we probably met at Maryland Fairy Festival when you were here previously, but I went around as the queen of the Unseelie Court at the Maryland Fairy Festival.
I have not been to the Maryland Fairy Festival since the second year they did it.
Oh, you haven't?
No, so I've been doing mostly steampunk stuff. So I'll get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't make it to Maryland until the third Maryland Fairy Festival, and after that I fell in love with fairy festivals and had been coming to them ever since.
They're so much fun.
Yeah.
Well,
it's great to be facing.
I was gonna say what I'm gonna miss about Spoutwood is Fairy festivals always used to be my recharge. Like I would work all the New Jersey Renaissance fairs and kind of sell my wares, and I'd go to Spoutwood and I'm like, I can just sit back and enjoy the good vibes, and I would feel so good after that weekend.
Yep. That's how I felt at Pensick. And I just that 2 weeks of recharging, I've never felt so good after coming home from an event. So I understand that. Yeah.
I missed the New Jersey Run Fair this year because I was going to go to that for the first time. Working for Nikki from Mayfair Moon. That in the Philadelphia Run Fair.
New Jersey Renaissance Fair is supposed to be.
Year.
Yeah, that's supposed to be my first Ren Fair. I'm supposed to be at that one too. So You know. Oh well.
Well,
There are many years
Yeah.
Yep.
in the future. This is not
Yep.
the only year in existence,
Exactly.
right? Time keeps rolling.
Yep.
Yeah. Things have to go back to some semblance of normal at some point. Although I think I imagine that everything that's going on is going to greatly change our sense of normal.
For the better, I hope.
Yeah. Every crisis
yes,
is
I
also an
hope.
opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody want to, like I said before I finish up, any last thoughts, or anybody want to say anything before we close out?
Well, I definitely hope that there are more teas to get together with soon, and because this was quite enjoyable, and would love to do it again as soon in the near future.
I plan to be hosting quite a few. I'll do it on Concellation. I'll see if any of the fairy groups want me to host it with them, and I'm probably going to host a couple on the Munchausen page as well.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. I would like to tell everybody out there that if you have pets or animals, to hug them, because it will make you feel better, and pets and animals are wonderful. And if you do not, ask for your friends to post pictures, because those threads cheer everybody up, and you know it. And if you say that they don't, you're lying. Don't lie. Don't lie.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think they even cheer at my friends who are extremely allergic to cats.
Mm-hmm. They need it the most. You need cats the
Because
most
even
if you're allergic. Yeah.
Because even though they come and visit, but they can't visit for long. They still enjoy getting updates about my cat.
That's right. That's right. So.
It was great seeing both of you, or meeting one of you and seeing the other.
Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you very much for hosting, Zach.
No problem. All right. You all take care,
Thank you.
and we'll talk soon, and we'll hopefully do this a lot more.
All right.
Everyone
Bye.
stay safe.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Too.